We're going to share our screen as well so that you can see.
Lovely. Oh, look, he's recording already. Right, so welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm not going to do any kind of talking because you've not come to listen to me at all. But I just want to say, for those of you who weren't on the call on Tuesday, a massive congratulations. I know everybody's been working really, really hard with their home learning and giving children access to something. And wherever you may be on your journey, you know, big congratulations. I know some schools have been literally sending home booklets and textbooks, and they're buying them through Amazon and sending it to children's homes. I know others are uploading stuff to their websites. Others have been using Google Classroom. Others have been using Teams. Loads of other platforms have been explored. So wherever you are on your journey, you know, fantastic, well done. Keep up that hard work. But that's enough for me. I'm going to hand it over to my colleagues at Walker. You can introduce yourself because no one really wants to listen to me anyway. If I hand over to you, and then you can tell us about your journey at Walker with Google Classroom. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Okay. My name's Shaz. I am a Year 4 teacher and the computing lead at Walker.
My name's Kyle. I'm the other Year 4 teacher at Walker.
Okay, so our school decided that they wanted to start using Google G Suite and Google Classroom way before lockdown, and we completed our Google Level 1 and Level 2 educator exams at
about the same time.
Kind of end of last year, beginning of this year. And then we had started using Google Classroom in the classroom, using it to teach some of our lessons, to push materials, resources out to children. So Year 4 children were pretty well trained up
on it
by the time lockdown came. Our whole school had moved over to Google Drive before lockdown as well, and most staff were relatively comfortable and familiar with it. When we went into lockdown, we were the only year group to
entirely
start out on Google Classroom. We were uploading our timetable to our school website, but all of our material was going through the classroom. And we're going to show you our classrooms and what we've been doing. The children were able to communicate with us. They were able to post messages in the stream. We were one of the only year groups that had the least amount of emails through the office because we had constant contact with our children. We did limit our working hours in the classroom to kind of 8:30 till 4 o'clock, and we kind of made a rule of after 4 o'clock we're not going to communicate with children. This didn't stop children from posting work at 12 o'clock at night, asking questions at 10, 11 o'clock at night.
But they still learned when we were available and
yeah, definitely.
How to access us.
Our first week in lockdown, I'd say, was kind of
that was the
most full-on week, wasn't it? We had
the troubleshooting week.
Lots of troubleshooting. And then just as the weeks went by, it became a lot easier. And the children, if we look back now, where we are now, the children have been able to do some pretty amazing things. And we're going to share those with you. So I'm going to try and present my screen now to you. Entire screen. Share. Okay, so can someone just let me know if they can see my Google home screen now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we access the classroom two different ways. Either here at the bottom, we've got the app, or we would go through here and access the classroom. They both offer different, they're slight variations of each other. But
the Chrome version, if you go through the internet browser, is a lot more detailed than the app is, and you can do more things with it.
So because I'm the computing lead, I have access to all of the classrooms. However, teachers would only have access to their individual year groups. And the one thing we had to ensure was that each class was identical, because we've got twins. We had to make sure that what was going on in one classroom, the same material was going out to the other classroom. So I'm going to go down to one of our classrooms. So it shows you the name of the class, the number of students, and this is an assignment we've got set, so we'll talk about that shortly. The classroom has got a stream, which is where anything that happens is posted out, where we share messages. We can message children individually here, and only they get to see that one message. And then we've got the classwork tab. We made sure as a school that every classroom is identical, so they all have the same subject tabs. And this was where we were posting our timetables, our weekly learning grids,
resources, everything for each week, all the assignments here and here.
So the children would be able to access their material by choosing the correct week, the correct subject, and working through the material. In addition to sharing everything either as a PDF or as a Google Doc, if we shared it as a Google Doc, it allowed us to see who was accessing the document. So technically we were spying on the children.
It was more keeping an eye on who was accessing in terms of a register, so we could try and nab the ones who didn't do anything, who we were worried about.
So if when this opens up, if we click on this icon here.
When it loads.
And then we were able to embed links in our timetables, so the children could open this, whether at school or at home, and they could access the activity straight away. We'll just wait for it to come up.
This is a long timetable.
I know, it's a long time. The children are not allowed to edit this document. They're not allowed to comment on this document. So if we click on, we can see these are the children who are active at the moment. And if we open this up, oh my God, why is this so slow?
Just while we're waiting to load, if anyone, we'll have those at the end, but do post them in the chat. And you'll find the chat at the very top. There's a little speech bubble. Thanks, Story to interrupt.
So we can see all the viewers. We can see when they've viewed the document. So we had an idea of who was accessing home learning, who wasn't. Obviously, we had to take into consideration that some of our students might have been using the school website. However, because a lot of our resources that we were sharing were assignments or Google quizzes, they would have to enter the classroom in order to complete the work. If you go to this tab, it shows you everybody that's got access, teachers and all the students. And from here, if I select a student, I can choose to, we can't email them because none of our children have the email facility turned on, but we can mute them. And I think we had to mute 2 children.
We muted 2 children because of their comments in the
children think it's
a chat room.
And the chat can become out of hand very easily and quickly. And we had 2 children where it was inappropriate, so we had to mute them whilst we made phone calls home to address that.
One other thing with that, in the stream, we go back to the stream, we muted the children from posting here, so only we can post, but then they can comment underneath our posts. We did that because everybody kept posting their own comments in the stream, and then it just took over. So we blocked them from accessing the stream unless it was one of our posts, and it made it a lot
easier, more efficient.
Yeah, efficient is the word.
You can you have the option to choose a post and move it to the top. So if you had something that you want to be at the very top and you want the children to make sure that they see that, you can move your post to the top. The children don't see this here at the top. Do they see it?
Yes, they do.
Okay, they won't. So if they go to classwork here and they click on the meet, that's where they would click on the meet to have a meeting with us. They can't access the meet unless we've started the meeting, they can't access it. But if we're in a meeting and we leave, they stay in it. So until everybody is out of the meeting, they are in it full time. So you have to make sure that they exit before you do. Otherwise, there's a whole chat going on while you think everybody's left. So see if I can go into a student and show you. Okay, so this shows me all the activities that have been set for this child. At the left, you can see all is highlighted. So I can see everything they've done, whether they've done it late, whether they've done it on time, what their scores were. We found that we started setting assignments. We set quizzes before we set assignments. And we found that this was...
That was a lot easier because the quizzes were marked instantly after their submissions. So we kept an eye on their scores and then gave them private comments and added a score to their assignment each time.
And we found that when we set assignments, we were creating a template in Google Docs. And what Google would do when it was set as an assignment, we would ask it to generate a copy, a template for each child. So each child was having work generated for them. It saves it with their name, saves it with the correct title. They complete the work and they return it to us.
Yeah, so we'll go into one so you can see what it's like. So each child would come out with a blank version of a fact file that they then had to open and edit individually. But this was a bit more complex because we set the template out as an image, so they had to access the image to edit and insert an image into an image, which was a bit confusing. It sounds confusing, but it was a lot easier than you think.
And for this, we did have to go in and kind of reset the template for a couple of children, but overall, the majority of the children were able to follow the instructions, knew what they had to do, and were able to complete the task independently. It gives the children a real sense of ownership that they have. So you can see she hasn't completed this bit. She hasn't
put an image on this side, but we gave them clear instructions of what to do. So if we double click on it, it will open up and it will edit
the document. Can we show them a quiz?
Yeah. Can we go back to the...
Those quizzes there. So if you go to one of the maths ones, multiplication and division. Okay, hold on. Actions quiz. View details.
I don't know whether you're going to access it because...
Okay, so this is what we would see. We can see who has, these two need their scores returned, these two children at the top. We can see that these children have not completed the assignment. And then we can see all other children with their scores and with the comment returned. If I go to my Drive, if I go back to the classroom.
You can access it through the classroom, yeah.
Classwork. So, oh goodness gracious me, it's the same thing. Time problems. So we initially found making the quizzes took us much longer, but over time.
Once you create a generic template for addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, you can import those questions into a different quiz and then edit them slightly, change the numbers, change it to multiple choice, or so we can't look at that because that's live. Unless
you go into my Drive. So what we found was that when we set the quizzes where the children put a short answer in, we found that if they put a space where we hadn't put a space, and we'll show you when the document opens up, in the answers, it would mark the children as incorrect. So we then found that multiple choice kind of removed some of those technical issues that we were then dealing with. So children, if they didn't put the unit of measure in, the way we had set it, it would mark it as incorrect. So then you'd have children kind of messaging and saying, I got 10 out of 10, but you have marked it as incorrect. And that was because we expect the children in year 4 to be able to use the unit of measure. So we found that multiple choice kind of eliminated some of those issues. And we used the quiz facility for fun quizzes, for we were able on one occasion, I used a Twinkle resource where I was literally just copying and screenshotting part of the image and putting that in as my question, and so inserting an image, so I didn't have to do lots of typing. And we found that the children really enjoyed the quizzes, and it kind of created more engagement from them. Whilst Kyle's opening that up, I'll explain that as of September, unless there's a localized lockdown, we only intend to use Google Classroom in the classroom and for setting literacy or project work over throughout the school year. We hope that we won't have a localized lockdown and we won't have to go back to home learning, but it had always been Walker's intention to use Google Classroom in the classroom. Both Kyle and I have been to look at a different trust in a different borough where they were using Google Classroom, and we saw that they were kind of using it just for this. There was a lot of lost learning going on, and we don't want to be using.
There were some children who had done the work already and were sitting there doing nothing, whereas other children were really struggling with it, and they needed some extra things to push your more able children. The lowest will find they were getting help and they were asking questions, but the tops were just sitting there.
So this is our multiplication and division quiz.
So we put instructions at the top because the children would always ask, how do we do this? What do we do? And we said, well, if you read the instructions carefully. They got used to it after the second week. Yeah. It took a couple of weeks, but so you can change your answers. You can see that we've put 2 different answers in at the bottom, just in case they did put a space in between the numbers and the letter. But there are lots of different ways you can do it. You can do it as multiple choice, which will change it into 4 different options. Check boxes, which will do, again, more than 4 different options, and they can select more than one answer. You can have it as a drop-down box, so they can select lots of different things. If you did it as a literacy assignment, you can get them to type in either a short answer, or a sentence, or a word, or you can get them to write an entire paragraph. And the rest are pretty.
And if you look at, if you can see, we've made sure each one is required, so they have to answer each question.
And we went into the answer key part to add a point score. So some of our questions are 2-step word problems, so we added 2 points for that. So if they got 1 step correct and they chose the wrong answer, then they still got a point for the effort of it. You can put in more than 1 answer. You could add in 13 if you wanted to.
And you can add answer feedback. You did that on the science one.
I did that on the science and teeth and healthy eating because it was quite a fun one.
So we found that what we'd also do is once we'd done 1 question, we would hit the duplicate. It would duplicate that question. We'd just go in, change the numbers, change the answer. So we found that it was pretty easy. We then found that some of our teachers started doing this with no training. They just, we'd shared a video, hadn't we? We shared an example.
They struggled initially, but then as soon as we sat down for 10 minutes, they grasped it and they've been making their own ever since.
So you can see our responses here, and you can see from this green icon, we've linked it to a spreadsheet. So if I show you one of our spreadsheets.
You're going to the drive.
It opens here. So the way it was set up, it shows the timestamp, the child's email, name, and it shows their scores for each question. And then we were actually completing the quiz ourselves and freezing that bar so we could just see straight away which questions they'd got right, which ones they'd got wrong. So it was a good assessment tool for us as well. And we, so you can see if I look at a number one. Okay, my kids are going to run the house down, that's fine. Okay, so we've got the timestamp, we've got the email address, so we know which child's submitting it, we've got their score, and we've got their answers for each individual question. And we've got on here, you can see we've got some literacy ones, we've got addition and subtraction, So
time ones, we've got lots of different
we've
ones.
got lots of. We did it for.
We've made about 2 or 3 every week.
And what we've decided is that moving forward next year, this time, we will use these in the classroom with the children, so they're not kind of wasted resources. That we've done it once now. That's it. We might go in next year and tweak it according to the ability of our year group.
Differentiate the questions a bit, but the overall skills of the children, the IT skills and even keyboard skills, general typing has improved drastically just from using all this stuff.
We were the first year group, then year 5 came on board, then year 3, but initially it was just year 4 and 5. And what we found was a lot of people saying can't do it, the children won't be able to do it. Yes, the younger years, it is more the adults kind of
adult supervision and
the adults are logging in and perhaps uploading work. So what we've done for our younger years, if I go back to one of the classrooms and show you, we've set assignments and parents are able to upload, they're able to upload material, whatever work their children have done. So we've got foundation subjects, and you can see, I mean, they've only had 2 children. So the difference between the use-wise from the Key Stage 2 is that the children are more able, plus some of them had been trained before lockdown. But even those that weren't trained, both staff and parents,
they picked that up pretty quick.
Picked it up really quick. It's not
the benefit of training. Year 4 had all the training before. We had 95% access across the board.
And you know, we've had kind of like at the most on a couple of occasions, we've had a couple of bits of work not handed in. The beauty of this is if you can you can see exactly what children have done or not done, and then you can we've been sending private messages out to children.
Show them the marks.
And so if we go to, so we can see here who has done what on what score they've got. So it gives you a good idea of who's engaged, who's not engaged. And this kind of made it really easy when we were calling home and saying, you know, we're missing this piece of work. Are you struggling? Do you need any help, etc. We go. Well, let me move it. It's still loading. So you can see it goes all the way back to when we first started our first assignment or our first quiz on the 7th of May. I can't think of anything else. Where's our meeting? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now.
Thank you so much for that. That's brilliant. We have got a few questions in the chat.
Okay.
I had a question. I know that you also use Meets with your children. So,
yes.
Did you do any? I know you kind of got them together to do the virtual chat as well as the typing chat. So you actually used video conferencing within your lessons, didn't you?
So some teachers
we started with Zoom meetings because the Google Meets wasn't accessible to everybody. But as soon as it was, we were kind of organizing 5 or 6 in a group to limit the numbers and then swapping the children in and out to get overall interaction with the class. So it wasn't just the same people each time. Yeah. But it works quite well. I had a child in Bulgaria who was still coming onto the Meets every day.
Yeah, we've got a child in Bulgaria who's done more work than children here. Goes to show you can be anywhere in the world.
Absolutely, and you're still
I'm just looking at some of your comments. Yes, we did use the private comment. Gulev, we used the private comment for when we were returning work, or if we wanted, say for example, we'd check either private comment and say, oh, hello, so-and-so, you've got this outstanding, or if we wanted to message a group of children because they hadn't completed their My Maths homework. So we did use that. We didn't use it for homework before school closure. We were using it in the classroom, but we have decided we're going to do away with homework books and use this as home learning once we go back in September. How did we become Google qualified? Last summer, we decided during our summer holidays to do the 72 hours of training. That sounds really bad. We didn't do 72 hours.
It didn't take 72 hours at all.
We skipped through a lot of it.
We did it on separate days, but overall it took about 3 hours.
So we read the material online, and then we both were we'd been using the Google, the G Suite and the Drive. We'd been trialing it for the school for a year before. And then we took the level 1 exams. Took me the whole 3 hours to do. It took you less. The beauty of it is that it records you, so it takes snapshots of your face. But when I was doing my exam, Kyle was sitting kind of on the other side of the desk with his own laptop, and you are allowed kind of to even yourself to search on another laptop to kind of
as
find
long as
the
they
answers.
see that it's you taking the test the entire time, they don't care what you do.
So it's a set of questions out with multiple choice answers, and then a set of 12 scenarios where it asks you to actively, it sets up an incognito account, and you have to do.
You have to create a YouTube's account. You have to go send emails to people that are part of your administrators, your fake administrators, and invite them to events and go through the calendars and access different things. And
so we did level 1 and level 2. Level 2 was a bit.
Level 2 was more focused on all of the different things that you had to do. Level 1 was just a general, can you do this? Can you do that?
So we're happy to, our school are now looking to have more level 1 educators. Would we be willing to do further training? Yes, we would be happy to do further training. If so, what would the cost be? I don't know if there's a cost. We'd have to ask our school to release us.
That's something that the CLC are happy to provide you with their support and training, and there would be maybe a cost element, but I can share that with you, and maybe we can get Walker on board with that. Obviously, you did an amazing job. I know you have, so people want to buy you into their school to help them train. There was a few questions you may have missed at the top. So did you put yourself into all the classrooms? I think the answer was yes.
I'm only in every class because I'm the computing lead. I also have the app on my phone. Lots of teachers turn off the so you can get the notifications by email. I get them through my app, and it just allows me to not miss anything that's going on in my classroom, but also to keep an eye on what's going on. The one thing I've had to kind of say to lots of teachers once they've had the training, and even after, when they come and they say, oh, I've got this message, what should I say? Especially in the younger years, you can't assume that it's a child messaging you. You have to assume that it might also be a parent, and you have to remember that it's digital, and once you type it and put it out there, it's out there. So it really is kind of like your digital footprint, and thinking about what you're saying. We've had messages, haven't we, where we've thought, no way, that's not from a child, that's a parent that's typed that. And you kind of have to think, okay, how can I reply, kind of without being...
Well, the beauty of the app is you can access it anyway. You get a notification. I was walking around the supermarket once, I got a notification, and I responded to a child instantly.
Oh yeah, I've been out and realised I'd forgotten to upload a piece of work and uploaded it from my phone, because I've got access to everything from my phone. So the ease of it. Obviously, I've had teachers say to me, I've received a message at 9 o'clock, do I respond now? Well, that's up to individual staff. I've responded in the classroom to children at 11, 12 o'clock at night, because that's when I've been able to work. So that's really at your own discretion. Can you load Word docs and PDFs? PDFs, yes. We only uploaded Google Docs, haven't we?
Yeah, so we've converted the Word documents to Google Docs, which allows the children to access, and you can see who has accessed the document as well.
Another question was, does your school use G Suite to save all their plans?
Yes.
We've gone completely over to the G Suite and the Drive.
So the beauty is that you can see everybody's planning. So we have to present our screen. Okay, hold on. If I present, I will show you entire screen. So
we can access our shared drive, which you can see curriculum resources from all the subject leaders, and then we've got our planning, so you can go in and see every year group's planning. So year 6, year 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You've got reception in there. We've got timetables, assembly rotors. So we've got all of ours in here. So we've got all of the subjects, all the different things that we need, all in one place.
So it just means that we can access it from home. We're not dependent on before you close it, hold on. I wanted to show you, we're not dependent on being in school to do our work. We also have I just find it, a Walker Teachers. So all the teachers are pupils in the classroom, and we'll be using this to deliver our staff meetings moving forward. So they get to see things that we share here. And I've done kind of like a couple of Screencastify videos on how to upload a video, being familiar with how
general tours of the classroom.
Yeah, general tours of the classroom.
We've given them example assignments, and
so and the Screencastify videos are literally 4 or 5 minutes just to give them a taster, and we will be using this to deliver our staff training as of September. Just means that we can push out the material, staff get to access it, and then we don't have to worry about kind of uploading it somewhere and then emailing it out. It's all there. And we've done all of our handover logs and everything, which has been really good.
Another question, sorry, this is really great presentation. Thank you so much to both of you. If the children had access to this on a tablet or a phone, would they be able to do the editing? Yes. They would, yes. Yeah, that's the answer to that one. And yeah, you didn't really use it for homework before the school closure. Yes, you did. What, you was using it with year 4 now?
We were using it in the classroom, and we were using it to deliver lessons on the Chromebooks.
So we realized that their computing skills and their typing ability was really poor. So we kind of made it cross-curricular to build those skills moving forwards. So we set a couple of assignments, writing poetry and stuff like that, where they handed it in, and we familiarized them with the classroom and what to do with it.
Okay.
The training that we did ourselves was all through Google, all available online. It's all free, and the exam, I think it's cost $25 or
yeah, it was about £12,
something like that.
Yeah, it's really cheap, isn't it? I'll send it to everybody afterwards. It's just the Google Accreditators course. I think there's a 3, isn't there, after that?
So level 1, level 2. The next one we're going for is educator.
Right.
Trainer, sorry.
Trainer, then innovator.
Aren't you? Yeah.
And our deputy is going for innovator.
Innovator. And I think the level 1 and level 2 last for 3 years. And then after 3 years, you have to do it again to reset it.
So hopefully if we get
trainer,
we don't have to do it again.
You will get trainer, but yeah.
We have to put some hours into that, because we have to write a case study for that.
Okay. I don't know if anybody's got any more questions. Obviously, you can unmute yourself if you wanted to come on.
Somebody said here, what cursive font do you use for Key Stage 1? Can't find a good one. We've had that as an issue as well.
We did download one before, but since we moved over to Google, there's loads of Google fonts in there. I don't know if they have a cursive one, but if you go into a Google Doc, hold on, I need to present the screen again. So if I take you to a Google Doc where you click on the fonts, you can click more fonts, and they've got thousands, and you can just scroll through and find any one that fits, and it will just keep reloading and refreshing itself each time. And now let me stop.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that was that questions. Thanks, came up on the chat. Has anybody got any more questions? No, I don't think so. It's all gone very quiet. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's so late in the year, but this is going to be, I think, invaluable for everybody moving forward. I'm sure you might get a few calls.
Yeah, we're happy to help and happy to kind of share or answer any questions as we can. We just found our way through it, and it's not difficult. And
It's not, the more you play about with it, the easier it becomes.
Did you look at any other platforms, or was Google just always the way forward for you and your school? Did you look at Microsoft?
Well, we had issues. We've got the new school being built, and we had server problems, and Google offered us a completely cheaper alternative to our main server. So it was presented to us, and we just went, okay.
We'll go with
I did go to the Google Summit last year with the deputy, and I think that was a real wow moment to see what they were doing and what the capabilities were. And also at the BET exhibition, I took 6 children, and just kind of being able to see what they could do really was a great experience. Someone's asked, can you post live videos onto classwork? So you can post videos, you can upload a link, and we've had actually virtual assemblies where the deputy and the head teacher have shared a link in the classroom.
They've recorded a video and they've shared the link in, or you can just do a Google Meet and have a chat with them that way.
So can it be like a live stream? So you don't have to have the interactivity, just be like a television?
I don't know.
That can have you can do something pre-recorded and upload it. We've all done that, definitely. You could have a Google Meet and record it and then upload that. A live stream, they'd have to join through the Google Meet.
They could join through the Meet, and then you could block their camera and mute them at the same time. But whether they have the capability to unmute themselves and then ask you questions.
And the good thing with the Meet is that you can turn captions on. So if sometimes when you haven't got great internet connection, it allows them, it types up whatever you're saying so they can read what you're saying at the bottom.
Does that work well? I've not used that before. Does that work?
All quite slowly and clearly like this, yes.
If you're very clear with your voice, yeah. If not, then it just kind of guesses the words for you.
Well, thank you so much. I've run over time. I'm really sorry to keep asking all these questions. But thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody on the call, I know is going to be thanking you as well. I really hope you all have an absolutely amazing summer, a well-deserved rest. You really do need it. And I do look forward to seeing you all in September. Thank you. Thank you both. It was been
great.
Thank you, everybody. Oh, that's lovely. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, guys. See you soon.